Okay, my snarky self is actually going live 5 minutes earlier than I'm officially scheduled, just to cause trouble. Just to cause trouble. I'm just being a troublemaker, friends. Okay, so the recap, of course, is for the people who weren't here this morning. Right. And what did we do? Ah, yes. Actually, this is kind of interesting. Well, at least to me. Okay, so this morning we did this shot. Start to finish. Took about an hour and 15 minutes. And then I repurposed that shot into the next one. They hear a noise, and there's somebody coming. So, which turns out to be these soldiers here. So the next shot is horrible, horrendous, disgusting, ridiculous. This was done way too long ago, and Luka looks completely stupid. So the task tonight is to just completely redo this shot. So what I did was I found an earlier shot. Well, actually, let me go back here because, of course, now we have to wait for Vegas to wake up. Good time for a sip of the martini. So let's go back here and where the heck is it? There was a silhouette shot. There we go. This shot right here was kind of the inspiration for the current shot, but I did want to go ahead and completely reanimate Luka. So that's that. That's pretty much what we've got here. So I'm going to approach this the same way I did the shot this morning, meaning strategically. I did the pencil test and I'm quite happy with it. It's got a little bit of that Avatar: The Last Airbender feeling to it, I think. And that's probably because Luka kind of looks like Aang. That really was not intentional, but there it is. So Luka moves into the scene and he tells Mel and Tianara to quick hide in the bushes. So that's our shot. Okay, let me get the proper rewind here. Quick, hide in the bushes. I love that shot. I love that. If I could get that quality of characterization all the time, I'd feel like I'm doing my job. Okay, so strategically, meaning there's really only one shot here, up to here. This is the drawing. This was all done. Well, it was actually done with hard-coded transformation keys, but the truth is a transform mask would do it. So it all happens so quickly that you just accept it. But it's actually a static drawing. And then we've got this tween right there, which is not drawn yet. And so let me look at this for half a second. Okay, so he lands here. And so these frames up to here can be deleted. The only reason they're in there is because the transform mask put them there when I baked it down. So, all right, cool. That means I can save my work. And now I'll look at the chat to see if anyone is scolding me for not appropriately announcing the live stream. I posted it on Discord. So if you're out there, Amar, I posted it on Discord just for you, fella. So that's that. Okay, so what do we really have here? We've got one drawing. We're going to have to do lip sync, but lip sync's irrelevant because lip sync always goes really fast, right? So we're going to have this tween, and we're going to have this drawing, and then beaky, 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 this little motion right here. So the truth of the matter is, for this shot, we have two drawings that matter. This one and this one. This one doesn't matter much because it's a one-frame tween. We'll be able to get away with murder. This one is really just a transform mask to here, and this is a baked-in animation just basically moving his arm. So here's what we do. Let's go to this. Let's go to this frame, and we'll call this. I think I'm going to be bold on this one. I think I'm going to call this ink and paint, and maybe put the ink and paint on the same layer. I may live to regret that, of course, but we'll see. So there it is. I'm going to go ahead and tone down the pencil test a little bit. Got the B key. I want to make sure I've got my brushes dialed in. Okay, back to here. That way I can hit the slash key and toggle between the eraser and the pencil. And then I hit the X key, which didn't really work because the colors weren't set up yet. So there we go. We are ready to jam. Okay, one thing about Luka, by the way, I'm going to actually switch this to size 2. What? Now this is interesting. I don't know why this happens, but it happened with an earlier version of Krita, and now I'm seeing it happen again with 5.0.6. It's like everything's humming along and is real snappy for a certain number of days, and then all of a sudden the interface starts becoming sluggish and unresponsive-ish, and rerunning Krita doesn't seem to do the trick. So let me see here. Alright, hang on friends. I'm going to go make an adjustment to the air conditioner. So you guys are going to have to sit tight for just a moment. This is going to take me 30 seconds. Okay, I turned back on the ceiling fan and adjusted the AC by 1 degree. Okay, so I'm going to make this 3. I guess I want the Bezier curve tool, so I'm going to go boom, boom, boom. It's just easier to do Luka's head that way. Just use the right tool for the job, baby. Oop, I think I just saw Valerie pop through. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate the screen so I can, let's turn on the smoothing and see how that serves us. Okay, our 5 key. Not bad, not bad. Let's just make a little tiny liquefy adjustment. If it blurs the lines slightly, I don't care. There we go. There we go. There we go. That's more like it. Getting her dialed in, baby. Okay, so there's that. B key. I want to make sure I have these shapes closed. Okay, question, real quick, thinking about this. Do we need to put the body and head in different layers? I don't think we do for this shot, actually. I don't know how much we really see Luka's neck with that Major League turtleneck he wears, but okay, I don't think we'll see any gap there in the close. So let's just get this here, because we're just really trying to get him to this pose. Okay. And I guess we'll put his nose in there. I would say that's it. Okay, so now let's turn on the pencil test, crank it up, and I'm gonna hard bake these in. I'm not gonna bother with, well, actually strike that. If I'm gonna use transformation tools, then it's stupid to put it in now, because I'm just gonna want to redo it once the color's in place. So let's get him colored in, and then we'll get the animation for the first 5 frames baked in there. Then we can think about what we want to do on his face, and this also does kind of call to mind the fact that we probably want to put the pencil test on top so that we can still see it even after the art is colored. So saving our work, I need to go over to the clipboard, boom, and come back here and go Control V. Hello, that is not what was supposed to happen at all. Let's come back over here. Apparently, Vegas hadn't woked up yet. Okay, let me try that. There we go. There we go. All right, so this is going to be our color key. And I guess that was what the controversial discussion was all about this morning, was whether my use of just grabbing frames from the show as my color key, as opposed to some sort of more intelligent palette operation, you know, whether I'm a bit of a goof for that. I definitely am. But there it is, friends. There it is. I'm going to just grab these colors that are highlighted. Boom, boom. Okay, cool. We got Luka, and we can actually hit the G key. We're in behind mode, so that means I can just lasso it. That takes care of that. And I'm going to close and open Krita, minimize, I should say, because it was giving me that little unresponsive thing that it does. Okay. Now, interesting question here. Actually, let's do it this way. Let's take, this is going to be our ink, right? Okay, so we'll call this ink and paint. Okay, and now the number of times I've regretted putting the ink and paint on the same layer, the number of instances are a legion. So, as good a chance as not, I'll regret it, but what the heck, I'm feeling frisky. Let's just go and see what happens. Let's just go. We just don't care. Okay, so what I'm going to do is call this face. All right, and frankly, if I use a transform mask, actually that makes a lot of sense in this shot. Using a transform mask on the group makes all the sense in the world, because that means I can, well, I can figure out the motion and I can still make adjustments to the art and the changes will propagate, so that's a good thing. B key. All right. Let's just zoom way in here, friends, and get Luka's face happening. Luka, Luka, Luka. Oops. Luka's one of my fave characters. I like Luka. I like the way he talks. Being from India. This sort of thing. He's a good kid. Ooh, yes. And he is surprisingly resourceful. Okay, let's go here. We'll just kind of do it this away. Okay, you know, I think since I'm here, since I'm doing this anyway, why is that showing? Now that's interesting, isn't that interesting? This is the ink and paint layer, but look what's showing in the pop-up thumbnail. It's the pencil test. Am I missing something here? Oh, I am missing something here. This is not ink and paint. This is ink and paint. Okay, Dave, you are a bonehead. Okay, this needs to be up and out. There we go. Better save our work. So, who's around? We got 2 concurrent viewers. And Sifter's not one of them, because Sifter's live streaming right now. So if you guys are interested in a very talented young man, check out Sifter's channel. He's doing some very cool stuff in the sort of anime space. Okay, so face, I guess what we'll do, this is kind of a little lame, but go back here, and I think what we will do, this does not have a keyframe. Well, let me think about this for a second. Hey, Tom. Okay. I'm just thinking out loud here. And I need to turn the smoothing off. If I'm going to do coloring by hand like this, usually the smoothing becomes your enemy. So the nice thing about putting the face on a separate layer is if I want to independently animate the eyebrows or an eye blink or something like that, everything's separated and really easy to grab. You know, it's all just kind of right there. I would think, though, that probably it makes sense to put the mouth on a separate layer because there is going to be a fair amount of lip sync in this shot. And I would say that when Luka approaches the situation, in other words, the first 5 frames of this shot, he will not be having his mouth wide open like that. Okay, so let's just give Luka, we'll just tone his eyes down a little bit here. On the face layer, we're already in behind mode, so should be able to just do one of these numbers right here with the freehand path tool. Cool. Okay. So now what we're going to do is I don't even think I'm going to add the transform mask. What's the point? I know what it's going to do, right? I mean, if we go back and look at the pencil test, this is all that the transform mask is going to do. And then we're going to wind up baking it in. And to do lip sync animation or really anything else, we're going to be turning the transform mask off anyway. So the question is, why do we even need it in there at the moment? And the answer is, well, we pretty much don't. So I do want to pin the ink and paint layer to the timeline, though. However, I'll have to look into whether it's possible to force Krita 5.0.6 to actually, by default, always pin every layer to the timeline, because that really would be my preference. But, you know, they haven't asked me. They just haven't bothered to ask Dave. You would think they'd be all over it. Hey, Dave, what would you like our software to do? Since you're obviously so important. I'm kidding. Obviously. Okay, so this is going to be about, that's 15. I'm going to say, let's do about 13. Yep, because we are going to have a cast shadow as well. So the cast shadow, frankly, it's an interesting case, actually, how we could do this. Check this out. I think I'm going to do it this way. What I'm going to do is I am going to say, okay, we've got this kind of situation like this, you know, with the moonlight coming down. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the cast shadow out like that. Okay? And the reason for that is that way, when Luka moves into position, he'll actually slide out from under the shadow. We'll blur that, and then we'll take this, put it around 15, and then alpha lock it. Technically, this should be alpha locked as well. Okay, and now I don't quite like the way that I did that. I do want to have it be pretty much the way I want it once he lands. So something like that will be pretty good. So now he can actually emerge out of the shadows, right? Which is kind of a cool thing, if you're into that sort of thing. Okay. And then we'll see what happens when he starts moving around. If the shadows fall apart, it'll be pretty much a dawdle to repurpose them. In other words, either redraw them or liquefy them, one or the other. Okay, we got Luka done, other than his lip sync. So let's keep rocking. Let's keep rocking. So we're going to have this. Let's go to ink and paint, and let's put in a keyframe. Put in a keyframe here. For the face, I definitely don't want to try to leverage this face. So let's just get rid of those. And the mouth as well. Where's the mouth? Insert, insert. Okay. So he snaps into place and then boom, turns like this and then doot doot doot, which is a pretty obviously easy, simple animation to do. So let's go to ink and paint again. We got the black. And we'll turn the smoothing back on. We don't want to be in erase mode, you silly goose. Okay, so as I've said, this is a one frame tween. So we don't want to be schlockers, but at the same time, this is not going to be on the screen very long. And your eye is not going to be able to digest it. Therefore, this does not have to be the best drawing of Luka that I've ever done. Although I'm going to try to make it, you know, pretty good. Pretty good, friends. Pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of draw these little knuckles that kind of wrap around into kind of like fingers with a meaty palm underneath and a thumb. Little finger indications, cuff, and there's that. Okay, let me check what we got going here. Okay, so this is going to be. I'm really winging it here. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to assume we're going to have a 1, 2, 3. Okay, that was stupid. 1, 2. Then this is going to be just kind of wrinkled in there. Probably little wrinkles here. Did I just say a little wrinkles? So I mixed my tenses, didn't I? Okay, 3 concurrent viewers. Face layer. All right. It can't hurt to try. So I'm going to try. I'm going to smack this in here, hit the A key, and see if that can be reused. And it looks like it can. What does his... Okay, so his eyebrows level out. So this is what I was talking about. Now I can just grab this eyebrow and probably liquefy it, but... Right? Select this. Actually, let's select both of these. A key... Sorry, liquefy. All right, and then here, well, he snaps out of that pose, so clearly that's fine. That's all good. So let's go back to the face layer, B key, and now let's get that hat in there. All right, that pose is done. Let's go to the next ink and paint layer still. This is the one that needs a little more care because blew it. So, I mean, you can use the Bezier path tool. This is actually really hard because I'm a right-hander. Maybe if I really, let me try this. Really zoom in. I want to see how that goes. Oh yeah, that's way easier. Holy cow, that's nice. I don't know, man. I like XP Pen's products. I'm using the XP Pen Digital Artist 15.6. I actually own 2 of them. Darn it. But I'm seriously considering maybe trading up to a like a 22-inch screen because frankly the ultra high resolution would be nice because then I could really see my entire frame all the time. And at full resolution, you know. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking about that. Whoops, we don't want to do that. What you doing, you fool? What happens is on these curves, these big curves, when you get partway around the screen and then your hand starts to kind of catch on the surface and it's hard to continue that nice smooth curvature that you started. Just saying. Not complaining or anything. I'm just saying. Okay, one thing we want to note here is that, well, let's get the ink in and then we'll worry about it. Before we do the color, we should take the ink from his arm and smack it onto another layer probably, so that so it's going to just be easier to animate if it's on a separate layer, obviously. All right, let's just get right in here. And isn't this fun? Aren't we having fun? I think we're having great fun. 1, 2, 3. Let me give a little indication of his thumb there. So we got 4 concurrent viewers, which means I am like practically super famous here. Let me do a little bit of a liquefy operation there. I want to crumple that up more. And this probably might be a little more taut. B key. This hand, the left hand does not shake or anything. It just, it's just in its landing position and stays there. It's the right arm that gets animated. So I'm just doing this as simply as possible. Okay, let's jump out of here. Yeah, it would be actually super cool to, can you imagine having these panels all be roughly the size they are, but on a screen almost twice as high resolution so that you can see the full HD, or in my case, actually broadcast HD, frame all the time. That would be, I'm seriously thinking about that. I am seriously thinking about that, like in a big way right now. I think you're talking about $500. I don't know. It seems to me like the really big one's probably like $500. I know the digital artist, the 15.6s, I believe, were like $350 US when I bought them, and that's that's good 2 years ago. Okay, let's flip this baby. Okay, kind of glad I did that. Jeez, oh Pete, Dave, really? Seriously, dude? Like, how do you manage to, suck that bad? How do you manage to suck quite that much, fella? Now I could hedge my bets this way. Go Control-C and then Control-Shift-V. Flip the sucker and put it over there. Now, the astute animator probably would use a technique like that quite liberally. I am not the astute animator. I'm the stupid animator, I guess. All right, so let's go back to the body here, the ink and paint. And I want to actually enlarge this a little bit. This should not affect the face since it's on a different layer, but I just want to smooth out that roundness a bit. And OMG, that is not. Oh my gosh. There we go. Now the hat's all screwy, but that's better. It's still not like perfectly perfect, but it's definitely improved. Better save our work, huh? So who's here? We got 4 concurrent viewers. Are you guys like not chatting because you're like mad at me because I'm not showing my face today? There's my face. Alright. Okay, so now, what about the arm? Let's look at that. And by the way, why is the ink and paint not freaking showing up? I guess I don't have this large enough. See, that's the other thing. If I had the larger screen, I have to say, I could really have a comprehensive timeline, and yet still have a good large working area. I'm just saying. Okay, So here we go. So all we're doing here is this. We're going to grab this group and, well, I guess we'll just grab the ink and paint layer. All we need to do is grab the S key, grab it from right there, okay, hit the A key, and then we want to anchor it right on that point, right on the edge. So we go, bloop. That's it. That's it. And now what we can do is smack this. In fact, you know what I'm going to do, guys? Let me think about this for half a second. What I can do is let's clone a keyframe and let's paste. And let's clone a keyframe, paste, clone a keyframe, paste. Okay. So now this is actually, what I just did is only useful really if I put the color on the same layer. Okay. Which I have been doing. Because it means that all I have to do is color him once, here and here. Well, twice, but I mean once on each frame. And then these all will update automatically. So that means all we need to do is color these two, well, technically 3 frames, put in his mouth, add the transform mask, and the shot will be done-ish. Nice. So let's hit the F key. We are in behind mode. So let's go ahead and do the face, face, face. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We still have to color, because this isn't closed, it filled in, but it doesn't matter because the face is on top, so that's going to wind up covering everything anyway. So fine, 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 fine. There, we got that color. Nice. Dude. No leaks, no hits, no errors. Sweet. Okay. Keep rocking. Keep rocking. We're flying like the wind, friends. We are flying like the proverbial wind, aren't we? Okay. G key, lasso. Right? We can just do the lasso thing because we're in behind mode. Okay. And frankly, I could do the same thing here. And here it doesn't really make sense because we're kind of on a border there. Okay, why is that not filling? Okay, that's kind of interesting. I better save my work. That's interesting. Okay. The reason it didn't fill, I apologize, friends. That's my stupidity. The reason that did not fill is because it's got a leak. Right there, I see it. Dang. You silly goose. 1, 2, 3. G key to lasso. Here we go. We got that one. We got that one. So we just need this hand here. F key. G key in behind mode. Obviously, we're going to have to animate the shadows. But looky what happened now. Okay, now this is interesting. Why did that not update? That sucks. Well, okay, maybe I never did it. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. Let me see. G key. Let me see what happens. This should be a duplicate. Yep, it is. Okay, cool. So we better catch our little leak. F key. Boom, 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 boom. Come on. Come on. Oh, no. Undo, 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 undo. I have to keep undoing until it undoes the fill. The reason it took forever is because it was trying to calculate how to go ahead and fill the entire freaking screen because there was a leak. So, and I've done that twice now. So are these duplicates working? They are, so we're good. Okay, cool. Save our work. Hey Amar, I saw your message. I had to hop in the shower, cool off a bit. Nothing wrong with that, man. We need to get you a window fan. I don't know if that comment was in response to the notifications comment I made last. Of course it was, dude. What do you think? I'm poking at you. I'm poking. I'm just having a little fun. Yeah, you told me I needed to announce it on Discord, so I'm like, okay. If you're going to pick on me, my friend, perhaps I will pick back. Okay, back to work. Face. Okay, that was a duplicate. So here, let's go to town, baby. We need to grab that color. And let's just zip in here, hit the G key. We are on the face layer, yes. So what I'm assuming here is that there's not going to be any surprises in terms of what I'm doing with his eyes. Now, once I have this whole thing kind of smacked together, I may change my mind about that and go in and put in some blinks or whatever. But this is a fairly rapid moving shot anyway, so we'll see if that actually matters. But this is really all about lip sync right here, right? Okay, so now what we said we were going to do is we might as well do the no. Let's get the, because once I put in the transform mask, I do want to bake it in. So for that reason, let's go control insert here on the shadow. For that reason, I think I want to get all the constituent animated material perfectly in place. If I do the transform mask and then bake it, that doesn't affect the lip sync situation at all. So, because that just all happens over top of it, right? So let me smack this up a little. Oopsie poo. Why? Oh, that is the other. Got it, friends. Let's name this SHD2. This might look like absolute unmitigated chaos, but the fact of the matter is that this is coming along quite nicely. So the reality is that this ink and paint frame might as well be put back here. We know it's all happening over 5 frames, so let's, if that's confusing to you, don't worry about it. It's all going to make sense here in a little bit. It's all going to make sense in due course, my friends. Due course. Okay. Here. Well, this is almost pointless, but we'll just do this. Because we're kind of, let's just insert a keyframe here. We're kind of treating this as a well, let me put it this way. Normally when I've been doing these body shadows, these secondary shadows, they are kind of operating in exactly the opposite manner that this one is. This one's shadowing everything on his outside edges as opposed to everything inside. Frankly, to tell you the truth, I really don't like it. I really feel like, let me look at this for half a second. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to hit that. Okay. I actually think, you know what I should do here? I'm going to go ahead and fill this in. Like an idiot. Now I have to go through. I filled the bloody thing with the wrong color. Alright. So now what I'm going to do, now that he moves into this situation, I'm going to hit the E key, and I'm actually going to do this the way I've been doing. Because the idea is that the moonlight is like shining from above. So this makes way more sense. So with the transform mask, he's going to move into this situation where all of a sudden he's got the backlighting on him. Okay, let's go with that. Okay, and by the way, just to be accurate, that secondary shadow really needs to be outside of the group because of the transform mask. So what we'll do is we'll do the transform mask and then move this back into the group, because otherwise the alpha locking won't work. You could also solve it by having multiple levels of groups, but that's stupid. Why do that? There's no good reason to do that. So let me say this keyframe, we'll just hit insert, and now what I can do is what I really would have preferred to do in the first place, which is something more like this. Okay? Now that, of course, is the one frame tween. And here we're going to ignore this shadow layer for the moment, because what we want to do is kind of figure out what we're doing here. Okay, and I want to let the hand, I'm going to kind of do this the hard way, like that. Okay, and the only caveat being here, we need to, let's just go ahead and erase into it. Erase into it. Erase into it. And now what we can do is we're going to clone this keyframe and paste it here and paste it here. Then we're going to clone this keyframe and paste it here. And I see what happened before. Is that right? Here. Up. Why didn't it change? Why didn't it? Did it change? I guess it did change. I see what the problem is. Okay, so this is the original. I see what the problem is. I need to actually catch that little shit. Not in erase mode. Sheesh. Okay, this. I guess I need to re-clone it? I'm really not sure of that. It does appear, I'm kind of not examining this super closely, but it appears to me that once you paste a clone, you actually have to re-invoke the clone operation to paste it twice, which is kind of stupid, since the whole idea of clone frames is to make many copies of a single. Block the cat because he likes to roam the window ledges. Well, that's a fair concern. Okay, so now let's go to this. Let's get the shadow knocked out. How are we doing on time? 44 minutes. Jeez, oh Pete. I mean, I had maybe 15 minutes into the pencil test, but come on, this is awesome. I'm smoking today. All right, so let's go here, and I don't want to think. So I'm just going to delete this, and insert there, so that I can really roll this sucker from scratch. Okay? So we're going to have a shadow under his chin, under his chinny chin chin. So let's go ahead and do all of those. This one, yeah, well, I don't want to. I'm going to go Control C, then Control Shift V. I don't want to have that, sorry, Control Shift V. I don't want to have that have any change at all in it, because it would shatter if it did. So, go back here, G key. Let's catch that little bit, and then basically we just kind of had some random shadowy looking stuff. Shadowy, not in the sense of ominous, but in the sense of, you know, shadows. Okay, so what we're going to do is this one is going to be mostly copied and pasted into the what will wind up being the clone frame. Okay, there's that. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to go S key, and we're going to grab everything except the shadow that's on his arm. Right arm, Control C, jump forward and go Control Shift V, so it's duplicated. And now we can take this frame right here and we want to clone it. Clone that here. Paste. And now let's see what happens if we paste here. Yeah, it doesn't work. So that is stunningly, you know, somebody help me come up with a word to describe how completely stupid that is. You can clone a keyframe, but if you want to paste it multiple times, you have to re-grab it. Okie dokie. Right on, friends. We'll go with it. Holy smokes. Okay. All right, let's see what we've got so far. And by the way, I don't think we need our color key, do we? And by the way, we can put our background in. So the only thing that's problematic at this point is this shadow, because the shadow is not alpha locked to Luka, but that's because of what we're about to do right now, which is we are going to apply a transform mask to Luka. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? Well, here's why. So we can go here on frame 4, so it's the 5th frame, 0 through 4. And we're going to go keyframe. Then we're going to come back here, and we're going to go, and by the way, we should probably save our work. Always save your work. All right, now we're going to take this, and we're going to shrink him a little bit. We're going to move him this way a little bit, and then obviously down. I'm actually hitting the arrow key. Okay. And as usual, let us save our work. Okay? That's obviously not the most realistic animation you've ever seen, but remember, we're literally cutting into this shot. Boom. That's what we see. Clearly that's going to work just fine. So this is going to be 40 frames. Let's do 40. Save our work as usual. Save, save, save. Taking a bite of my martini. I'm going to lift my microphone up, so for a moment you're not going to be able to hear me very well, because if you did, I would be cheering or chewing. That's what you'd hear, which you don't want to hear, right? So okay. I'm going to turn this off. Pin that. So I'm adding the lip sync with the transform mask turned off, because otherwise I won't be able to draw in the right location. If that doesn't make sense, just go with me on it. So he says, quick. I think I want to let that hang one frame longer. Quick. B key. G key. Alright, now I'm going to go like this. And looks pretty good, actually. So he's going to say, sorry, A key. I want to expand this a little bit. And we're going to do anime style lip sync. So it's hide in the bushes. Okay. Let's see how that goes. Okay, insert B key. And save our work. Groovy, man. Can you believe how fast this is going? All right, so now what I'm going to do, actually, we do have a little bit of a problem here, come to think of it. Let me just think about this. The problem that we have is that the transform mask can't really be baked into Luka without, well, you'd have to, think about it. You'd have to duplicate the transform mask and apply it to every layer. Otherwise, it's going to bake all the layers together, and I'm not prepared to do that. Now, what I often do, frankly, in a situation like this, is I make a copy of the group and go ahead and bake down the copy and apply the transform mask to that. For efficiency purposes, in this case, I would say that's probably a pretty good plan. Let's do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this off, duplicate him, okay, turn this back on, and now what we're going to do is merge the group. I found this to be generally safe. In other words, if you merge the group as opposed to flattening the layer, it tends to work and not get bogged down. It'll take maybe, okay, so that only took about 8 seconds probably. Okay, and now what we can do is take these two layers that include the shadow and put them in a group. That's going to cause the secondary shadow, as you can see, to be mapped to Luka. And let me see what we have here. I'm going to say, well, that's okay. I don't mind that. That all happened so fast. I was going to say I wasn't so sure I'm whippy on the way the secondary shadow is behaving, but okay. So let's keep going with it. All right, so given that we're kind of locked into this shot now, let's go ahead and have a little fun with it. So step one is let's insert a copy of this keyframe so that we can then, remember the shadows are baked in now, not the secondary shadow, sorry. So now we can go ahead and boop, go ahead and give him an eye blink, and I'll probably be giving him one more as well. So B key, just kind of soften and clarify the eyelashes, and let's see what we have. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing again here. Control insert, go back one frame, G key, sample the skin, and then, you know, essentially erase his eye. So we're actually getting close to the end of the road here, folks. Amazingly. Kind of crazy when you approach a shot strategically, because this is not a trivial shot. I mean, this is admittedly it's only 5 seconds, but it is quite a fair amount of animation. You know, a complete change in body position for one thing. Plenty of lip sync. So, gee, it's impressive what you can do if you plan your work a bit. All right. Let's go with it. Okay, so this is 731. Let's save our work. And we are going to overwrite the old 731. 731. 731. And by the way, just for the record, there is certainly another shot that comes there. You know, it cuts away from Luka to somebody else, and then it comes back to Luka. So we're going to be able to leverage this work even more, I expect. I got to look at the timeline to make sure, but my expectation is that we are going to be able to get another shot out of this whole freaking deal. So we're waiting for it to finish. I don't want to wake up Vegas before it's done rendering. Otherwise, the fact that Vegas is beginning to reference the images that are on the hard drive might cause the render to get interrupted. So there it is. I mean, the shot is already cut in, and as you can see, this is the old legacy shot. What we need to do is go here, change this to 8 frames per second, disable resampling, and now let's just look at it. So we'll look at the shot we did earlier today. There it is. And then you see how you didn't even think about Luke sliding into the shot. It's just boom. And if you were a little uncomfortable with it, just chop off maybe 1 frame. There we go. Now, I'm not sure this is going long enough. There's this blink, so I actually cut it off a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and chop off yet another frame here. I want to have that be a little more dynamic. Keep things flying. Boom. I love that. I love the way he blinks just as it cuts away from him. It's got a real nice the feel of the edit feels good. So let me backtrack here and just kind of look at how this is flowing. Flowing. You think they hear a noise, hurry, hide in the bushes. And then this shot is horrid because Mel and Tianara are both like super off character. But we'll pretend that's not the case for a moment. And then it comes back to this ancient shot of Luka from back before I knew how to draw. No, it was okay, but it isn't. The character evolved, and it's just the basic problem is if the only problem with this shot is his eyes. His eyes are supposed to be round, not footballs, and if it wasn't for that, this shot would be okay, except for the fact that his head's too big. So he basically looks a little bit too young. That's the main problem there. So anyway, so what have we accomplished today? Let's find out. What we've accomplished today is 8 seconds, 9, 10, 11, plus 3 more, 12, 13, 14. So 14 seconds from scratch today, which isn't too bad. I think I want to completely redo this shot. Not this shot. I want to jump to this shot. And frankly, see, look at this. Look at this characterization. Okay, so you go, that really doesn't look like Luka. Well, let's just go back here and look at, not that shot, but I would say look at this shot. Look at that. Is it possible, friends, that we could steal this shot? So we flip Luka's direction, which I think in this shot he actually flips direction anyway. Let's just look at this. Yeah. So we take this shot, because remember, in the shot we just did, let's just be commonsensical about this. The shot we just did, he's looking up at them. So now we cut to the closer shot. We use the shot that was just on the screen, and I could take this shot here, actually pop Monkey into it, do the lip sync, and then just change his his eyebrows. Because Mel says, "What about you?" So Luka's like, "They're not after me." So there we go. So there's the answer. So is 720 a Tahoma or a Krita? Let's find out. 720. Ah, it's a Krita. So let's jump back over to Krita. And admittedly, I'm well aware that his eyes look a little different here. Here, you can, in the closer shot, you can see his irises, for one thing. Okay, so this, let me just reference back to here. And I'm actually going to make a change to this shot anyway. His mouth's too low. Yeah, right there. And I think it's okay while he's talking. Where's the mouth layer? Oh, we don't have a mouth layer. Because of the, okay, I'm going to do something radical here. Guys. Look the other way. Here's what I'm going to do. Well, other than, by the way, giving the poor kid his nose back. But I didn't even notice that. Okay, so here, watch what I'm going to do here, friends. This is going to be interesting. Watch this. I'm going to create another layer, okay? And Krita's being stupid as hell because for whatever reason it decided that this merged frame definitely doesn't want to be in the timeline. So, okay, Krita, okay, you know, you can be that stupid if you want to, but okay. All right, so we grab these and drag them into here. All right, and then here at the end of this sequence, insert a blank keyframe. So what did we just do? See what we just did? Everything looks good up to here. But then, when we get to this pose, we don't like it. So now what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it properly by putting it in a group, and I am going to add a liquefy transform mask. So I can't add any animation keyframes here. Okay? No animation keyframes allowed. All I can do is, this is what you would call in 3D Studio Max parlance, this is what you would call a world space modifier. What we're doing is we're adding a deformation that will prevail over the whole shot no matter what goes. In other words, the imagery is actually sliding under the transformation mask, if you will. Okay? What that allows me to do in this case is just do a corrective deformation. And now, as you can see, Krita's going to have to stop and think for a minute to process this. But every frame will be affected by that same identical deformation. If we turn it off, you can see his face is just a little too long. So, and I'm not actually completely happy with this yet. I'm going to go add just a little pull there. And I'm going to get radical here. I'm going to save my work because I'm going to try something crazy. I'm actually going to take the liquefy size mode in reverse. We're going to try this very carefully. Okay. Now that shouldn't be necessary. It's only necessary because I'm a bonehead and I'm rocking and rolling, and I really wasn't as careful as I should have been on his characterization. But now that I've done that, I can go ahead and merge this group, and this will take a minute because that liquefy operation now is going to be baked into all of those frames. So that's going to take some time. Could take 30 seconds or more. Did it actually just happen that fast? I think it did. Wow. Well done, Krita. Okay, that's that. And now there's no reason why I can't go Control E and actually merge these two layers back together again. No reason to keep them separate if everything's looking good. Ta-da! Okay, there's another thing I don't like. So, that's okay. There's always ways to fix things. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a keyframe here at the beginning of this dummy layer that I just created. And then here, I'm going to insert a new keyframe. And now I can paint over top of this. Watch this. I'm just spitballing here, you know, folks. I'm just going, you know, what would maybe make this feel just a little bit better? I'm just not happy with his eyes. So, but you can see it's so easy to fix. I mean, it's so easy to make corrections that why sweat it, you know? We'll just paint over top of it, like that. Ta-da! Ta-da! And the other thing that I definitely did not like, watch this. We're going to animate these, as a matter of fact. I'm going to go ahead and go like that. And then okay. Just paint these back out again. I have to kind of go over them twice because I'm using my pencil and it's not completely opaque. All right. Okay. And now we're gonna sample this. Now it could turn out that these eye changes are happening too quickly. I'm just kind of guessing on the timing. So what I want to do is I'm trying to make sure he's looking at Melchizedek and Tianara. Okay, let's see how that feels, my friends. Look at that. That worked. Okay, so now here, obviously there's a little bit of a problem. So we'll just fix that. No big deal. There's the blink. So we want to insert a keyframe here. Control insert. And then we'll go back here and just kind of put the lashes in, hit the G key, cover that up, and now there's a little bit of additional noise, as you can see, that I'm going to clean up, but yeah, no big deal. Easy enough to do. Okay, let's turn the shadow back on so we get a little more accurate picture of what we've got. Cool. Now, the question does remain, I think it's a worthy question too, is should we, I think we should. These closer shots on Luka show his, I mean, Tianara is this way too. Mel is not. Mel, you just see black dots for his eyes, but with Luka, you really are supposed to see the irises. So we can say he's going to zip into frame here. So I am going to, let's do it this way. Let's grab the pen. And then let's set the pen. I guess what we might have to do here is multiply mode. Nope. Let's do, well, it's white behind almost. Well, this is a corrective layer, so I guess we can give it a crack and see what happens. I guess what we want is darken mode, probably. Right, because we want it to, wherever it's darker, to go ahead and, oh, I see what the problem is. I needed to change this on the, okay, overlay doesn't work. What the heck? Multiply sort of works. I think darken is what I said. Yes, darken does actually make the most sense. But what happens down here? Then it falls apart. So I am not going to do that. You guys will forgive me while I leave it a little bit to leave it to fate to guide me in the right direction here as I go in and make these changes on the fly. It's all gonna work out, friend. It's all gonna work out. I'm having fun. I'm feeling pretty chill with this, so not like there's a big hurry. Okay. N key. Okay, yeah, that gives us just that little hint of hue. Okay, let's obviously insert. Then this should be that. Okay, insert, and once again, let's zoom way the heck in here and grab that color. This is gonna actually start looking cool here in half a second. So what I said was let's use darken mode. So if I actually use darken mode here. Okay, why is this not working? It's not working because it's not in the same layer. I forgot about that. Okay, it's all right. I'll do it here. And trust in God and luck. Okay, yeah. So now we need to go back up to here. Duh. And now, because the pupils are there in the same layer, the darken mode thing is doing precisely what we expect it to do. With the slight caveat that I'm not totally thinking that the pupils were necessarily as dark as they should be, but that's okay. Yes. Okay, I mean, there's no debating. The shot looks better. Let's put the shadows back on. So we've jumped through some hoops, but I would say it's been well worth it. Control save. So Gustav 954, haven't seen you in a while, Gustav. He says it's seem Bible. I have no idea what you mean by that. What seems Bible? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about, my friend. It's seem Bible. So I'm guessing Gustav's English is not his first language, which is fine. We want to be patient. We try to grok out the meaning of the words to make sure that we understand what the person means and not so be jumping to conclusions and making all kinds of erroneous assumptions, for that would be very, very rude. So what do you mean, Gustav 954? It's seem Bible. This looks great, as Tony the Tiger would say. It's great. All right. So now we got this. Obviously, this transition is not needed. So what do we have here? Well, we've got basically Luka's all by himself in a layer. So let's pull out and see what we got here. His monkey. Okay, that's just a monkey blink, and that's the monkey ink. There's a blink and an ink. So I'm going to go Control E, and I'm immediately going to save this as shot number, whatever it is, 733, I think. Bear with me, friends, while I jump back to the timeline. What does that mean? It's seem Bible. What does that mean? I don't understand. I find this comment confusing. Come on. Okay, here we go. 733. Okay, yeah, it's 733. So file, save as, boom, boom, 733.ping.craw. Okay, that's interesting. That did not overwrite a CRETA file. So that tells me that 733 was probably a Tahoma shot. Okay, I'm going to check that real quick, and then I think I'm going to put this animation in a loop and break away from you for about 3 minutes and refresh my beverage and all that kind of good stuff. So let's see, we got 733.tnz. Yep, I was right. There it is. Well, we're not going to be using that. So this is going to be the new 733, but we're going to have to make some serious aggressive changes to it. So now what we're going to do is loop, and by the way, we're going to convert it to 8 frames a second too, just so you know. So I'm going to put this in a loop, and then I'll be back in just a few short minutes. And I am back. So let's see what we need to do here. Entschuldigen Sie bitte. Okay, we're going to land here. No, we're not. We're going to land here. Yes, he was looking the wrong way in the old version of the shot. So I'm going to take this, smack it back there. Everything else is useless. Well, wait a minute. Unless, I said, they're not after me. Actually, you know what? I'm going to try something here. I'm going to put this, I'm going to go ahead and give him this reaction. I can always take it back out, right? Okay, so monkey, frankly, monkey doesn't belong in this shot. Let's just get rid of monkey. For now, I'll turn him off just in case I decide to bring it back for some crazy reason, but yeah. Okay, so step 2, let's change the frame rate back to 8 frames per second like it's supposed to be. And then let's just take a stab and say 40 seconds. We'll say this is a 5 second, or 40 frames, a 5 second shot. Yeah, I like that, actually. I'm going to go ahead and leave that in. What the heck? And then I'm going to put a blink in there. Okay, so let's just flow forward with it. Let's just flow forward with it. So control insert to add a keyframe, go back 1. G key. Let's put a blink in there. I think I'm going to put the blink about there. Okay, I'm in darken mode, no wonder. You silly goose. Oh my gosh, I put it in multiply mode accidentally. How do you get to be such a goof, Dave? How do you get to be such a goof? Okay, B key. Let's just zoom in here. Whoops, wrong brush there, friends. Switch back to that. G key, grab the shadowy skin color. And that makes a nice juicy eye blink. Alright. Okay, here is where I think what I want to do, watch this, friends. This is where it gets fun and interesting if you're taking finished art and you're trying to repurpose it for something else. Watch this. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to go Control X, Control V. Okay? Now that put it in another layer. That's the first step. The second step, and by the way, Krita decided to be stupid and not pin that to the timeline. Alright, now what I'm going to do is solo this layer. And we'll sample this color and fill that in. So that from here on out, we've actually got his eyebrows in a different layer. Now, before I go any further, and one thing Krita did that was not stupid, that was actually smart, was it puts a blank keyframe at the beginning when I do the cut and paste thing, which is quite useful. Alright, so now let's solo that layer. And now we're going to go in with our eraser. And actually what we could do is hit the fill tool in erase mode. Yep, there we go. And now I'm going to go in and just kind of clean this up a little bit, tighten it up just a skosh. Just a skosh. Oh, hey, Sifter. Yep, you're all caught up. You haven't missed much. It's been good today, though. I mean, I've been able to get several shots done that were, you know, kind of animated from scratch. Okay, I see the problem, don't I? Okay, let me go into here. And before we go any further, let's fix this obvious mess right here. Okay? Let's just fix that up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go Control S, or I'm just going to go S key actually. Control C. Control Shift V. Control Shift V. And here doesn't matter. So the only thing that remains goofy would be this one. Back over here, and I'll just kind of fix that by hand. Hello? Okay, I'm a little mystified here. I'm in the Luka layer. And I'm drawing. There must be a selection. So I'm going to hit Control-Shift-A. Yep, sure enough. That was the problem. There was a selection. Okay, so now what I have to do is go in and grab that color right there. Unfortunately, it's kind of a drag that I have to do this, but it is what it is. Because this, and I think I'll even turn on the smoothing so I can just kind of carefully smack this around. Now, this, I don't have to be too picky about this because the first thing I'm actually going to be doing here, believe it or not, is moving his eyebrows. So they're going to be in motion. If there's a very tiny change in the tonality of the outlines, nobody's ever going to notice that. So you have to kind of decide what you think matters and what you think doesn't matter. Okay. Now, what we will do is rename this Browse, save our work. A key. Now let's just liquefy these suckers. And what we're going to do is do a real big brush. Okay, stop everything. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do that after all. Now I'm going to go back here, grab this, make sure it's in regular liquefy mode. And so this is one of the tricky things about the way I do this is you sort of have to get used to working in kind of one direction and then okay, why did Windows just ask me if I wanted to turn on sticky keys? Okay, so now this should look pretty good. So Mel says, what about you? And then Luka says, they're not after me. Okay, so now the obvious problem here is that this eyebrow change doesn't happen quick enough. So therefore we just have to jettison the one keyframe. There we go. Problem solved. So now what we're going to do is on this frame, we're going to hit the G key, actually on the Luka layer, because this is all his ink and paint, right? We're going to grab this and erase his mouth. Why? So that we can now add some lip sync on top of it. So if there's anything that this, if this session is really about anything, it's about how you can take a piece of finished art or an animated sequence from another scene entirely and find ways to reuse the assets, which, why not, right? Okay, so G key, and I would say what I want to do here is sample this color, the color that the mouth resolved to when it was actually black but semi-transparent, which is what it would have originally been. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back one frame. So that I can then, so I get the position right. And now I'm just going to take this and move it. Okay, Krita, really? I didn't really want to grab two columns there, Krita. Okay, cool. So now that's there, and I would say it's actually a little bit too there. They're not after, and then let's go squeeze that in a little bit. Me, insert B key, turn the freaking smoothing off because right now the smoothing is only causing trouble. Okay. Did we get it? A 5-second shot in... I don't know. The other shot took... They're not after me. Okay, I don't like this. So I'm going to flip it. And then rotate it. I like the mouth being a little bit hanging open, but in the other direction. They're not after me. Okay, so the purist is going to have a cow because I'm not using phonemes. But I don't care. Okay, so now what I'm going to do actually is just rotate this. That one looks good. This one needs to be rotated. This one probably a bit like that. And then we'll adjust that. I guess I could turn on the skin so I can better line them up. Yeah, that's okay. Alright, now, question. Do we want to grab... Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to... Let me jump back here. Krita's not being particularly responsive right now, just so you guys know. Save our work. Save, save, save. Now let's come back here. And what we're going to do is we're going to steal the foreground silhouette. This one. Okay, this does not have any animation in it, although it does have one keyframe. But I'm going to copy the layer. Come back here. And I have a suspicion. Let's go to scale image to new size. Yep, sure enough, this shot is actually too large. And I know that some of you guys are going, "What? What are you doing? Why would you do lows of resolution?" Sorry, the audio sucked there for a bit. That's because I had my microphone pointing up. Sorry, nobody complained. So, all right. So now what we're going to do is take this. I would say, I think even maybe a little bigger. Okay. So they're going to frame him right in there. And then what we'll do is we'll hit Control M, and for this shot, I don't know. I guess I want to darken him a little bit, but I don't actually think I want to. I actually like it better the way it was, so forget it. Alright, save our work. Let's render this out, cut it into the show, and see what we've got. Okay, so by the way, this needs to be dragged back to there. Obviously. So this is shot number 733. Let's look at our render settings. 733. 733 period. We should get a warning, and we did, so that's good. So that's overwriting 733 in the show, and then we'll jump over to the show, and we will see that the old crappy shot has now been replaced with the new, better shot. That's what we like. That's what we like, friends. So let's go. Well, let's not go. Let's wait for Krita to finish doing its job. Now we go back here, and it turns out, perhaps, oh no, there it worked. Okay, so properties. We need to make this a mere 8 frames per second, and we do not want any resampling. And now, so this shot was not done today, but this shot was. And by the way, it's actually a little too short now. Okay, and I want to do a slight push on this shot. Boom, boom. Okay, so now this is where we ended up. And by the way, happily, the next shot is an old Krita shot that really, these shots came out really nice. So until we get to here, where the acting's okay, but the characterization's wrong. I'm going to have to change his eyes. So really, we're good until about this point here, so we'll mark that. And so what did we accomplish today? Well, this shot still needs to be done, so let's subtract 1 second from what we have here. Let's see. Seems to me that was fixed either this morning or yesterday. So at the very least, I certainly pushed close to 20 seconds today of actual beginning to, start to finish animation, because this was animated from scratch. Of course, I might be remembering wrong what I did today and what I did yesterday. It all does tend to become a blur after a while. What about you? They're not after me. And there they are. Cool beans. The excitement is ramping up. So this okay, and I think we want to do a push here as well. It needs to be pretty small. This push here is too big right now. So let's go to there, and as you can see, that's really a little too aggressive. But we do want that camera motion. They're not after me, he says. Evening officers. Can I treat you to a roasted turnip? So now Mel and Tianara are hiding, and Luka is trying to play the soldiers. But yeah, these shots right here with the soldiers, I have to say, they're pretty old, but they're from a period where I was really finding my stride with Krita for the first time, as I recall. And it's pretty much why I tend to be in Krita a lot instead of Tahoma, is because just the ability to, dial in the shot and the composition and the color and everything easily. Just, for me, it works, even though there's plenty of things about Krita I tend to complain about. So this shot here is probably going to be fixable with just a fix of his eyes and maybe this hand, which looks a little choppy and stupid. This shot's fine. It's a wide shot, no big deal. This shot, yeah. Let me open this one up. 737. As long as we're rocking and rolling here, I'm feeling pretty good. So I'm gonna leave. These shots open, and in case I find there's something I want to steal. Okay. Image. Trim to image size. There's no reason for this to be bigger. See, now it's cropped to the actual image size. Okay. I do see a little flaw there when he does the turn. Well, I mean, you could argue about that, but anyway, what is it? 737? Okay, let's do it. Pretty sure this is a Krita shot. Minus 737. How are we doing on time? It's been an hour and 40 at 7 p.m. Ooh! This looks like it is not a Krita shot. Okay. Well, let's do anything possible to hide that one. 737.tnz. Doesn't exist. Okay, so that's kind of weird. So that suggests the unthinkable. I'm kidding. It's not unthinkable. Is it possible that that shot was a Blender grease pencil shot? It could well be. Let's find out. I'm going to open up Blender. And let's just see what we can discover here. So this is 737. Let's just go to 737. Ah, there's the... Nope. No 737. That is a bit strange. I'm mystified, friends. So maybe I tried to open it in Krita and forgot to put in the minus sign? Let's see, minus 737. Nope. There's the ping. Well, maybe it's one of the rare cases where I forgot to put the minus sign on the file that was saved. Nope, that didn't do it either. That is a bit mystifying. The last thing we can try is do the browse operation here into Homa. Because maybe I'm just missing something here. 772, 732, 33, 34, 45. There is no 737. Okay. Well, with that, I would say this is a good place to... Maybe this is a good place to quit. What do we do? What do we do? Well, it's very strange. Shot number 737 does not seem to have any source material. And that's obviously kind of impossible. So, let me look at this for half a second. This could certainly be adapted into what we need. We'd have to flip Luka. Obviously take the silhouette out, the foreground silhouette. But the drawing actually isn't too bad. Think about it. If we took and lean him back, and then he's got his hands up, and he's holding the turnip, and then we put a smile on his face and happy eyebrows, and he's like, "Evening, officers." So, I'm going to say that's a good idea. That's actually not a bad strategy. This group is Luka. So let's just start killing things. And we know 737 doesn't exist, so we might as well save as 737.ping.crop. Okay. Alright, so group 1 has all this animation. And we definitely would have to change. What I'm looking at right now, what I'm actually thinking about is the fact that both these poses are interesting, but basically the first one's good and the second one's not as good. So I think what I'm going to do is say from here on out, get rid of all of that. And this is where he lands. So this transform mask. Oh, this is the... Yeah, this is the groupie one. I'm going to be bold. Just get rid of it. And now what we want to do is take all of this, and we might as well mirror the keyframes, and then get rid of these keys. So now we have a starting point that's actually not too bad. This foreground silhouette, gone. Wait a minute. Let me see something here. Whoops. You guys are going, what the hell are you doing, dude? Well, the reality is that we could actually go like this and suggest that the soldiers are likewise in the foreground. And what we'll do is we'll just go Control M. In this case, we'll make them a complete black silhouette. Preview that. Yep. Go like that. Then this can be I guess we'll have to recolor it, but that's okay. So Control F. Just repeat the seriously, dude? There we go. Alright. Save our work. Okay, step 1 on Luka is that the biggest pain in the butt with this shot is we're going to have to bring in the fire, but I've had many shots that use this same campfire element, so it shouldn't be any big deal to just pull it out of an old shot. Okay, this background is not acceptable, by the way. So I'm going to just snap it wide a little bit and move it west a little bit. There we go. Yep, that'll work. Okay, and image trim to current. Whoops. Undo. Image trim to image size. That's what we want to do. Okay, we're getting there. Now what we're going to do is take Luka. We've got the shadows. That's just the modification of his eyes, so we might as well bake that down. The shadow I prefer to leave out. Okay, so question, is there anything useful here? Well, I mean, you've got an eye blink, but come on, that's going to take 5 seconds to do. So therefore, what is not showing up here, by the way, in the timeline? I guess these technically don't need to, so that's fine. All right, so then let's get rid of that. So we're just starting with this as a basic drawing, and then all we're going to do is hit the A key and flip it. Hello. Hello, Krita. Being responsive sometime in the 21st century would be wonderful. I'm hitting the A key, and why in the flaming blankety blank 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 did it go into like mesh mode or something? That's what I wanted. Thank you. And the shadow, click, flip, and well, okay. Actually, we could have this slight shadowing from the moon, but we're also going to have the campfire. Okay. So let's just do it this way, shall we? I'm going to hit the A key. Okay, and since it's a transform mask, I actually think this should be outside of the group. I'm just spitballing here, folks, right? I'm just kind of playing around with it and seeing what happens. So if the shadow was over here, obviously we've got a major league problem, which comes from the fact that the shadow is no longer being alpha. Man, the alpha lock's not doing us any good. Just to make everything simple, I'm just going to go ahead and clean this up right now. Like so. Okay. We're not going to belabor the shadow situation too much because we're going to be modifying it here shortly anyway. This is what I'm interested in. I want to play around with this. and say, well, what would we want to do here? Well, yeah, let's just turn this off. This is a distraction. So he'd be looking down, and then when the scene starts, he would pop up and look cheerful and say, "Oh, hey, officers." And then so when he looks up, that's when he also kind of reveals his roasted turnips. Okay, so not bad, actually. Not bad. Well, as long as we're here, however, I want to make a couple other mods. This I'm going to do with liquefy because I'm going to stretch him down a little bit and push him back just a little bit so that when we turn this back on, okay. We'll add a key there. And then we'll come back here. That's asking for trouble with Krita. You do not want to be dinking around with transform masks in liquefy mode unless you're definitely going to use it, as I mentioned earlier, as a world space modifier. Why? Okay, I'm confused, friends. I see. Stupid. Okay, Krita, it's my fault. I grabbed the wrong layer and inserted an animation keyframe. Interestingly enough, it's not showing up now, so let's go here. Yes. And I want to go double click that and get rid of that. What it did was it inserted actually a transparency keyframe. So I won't bother wasting everyone's time explaining what just happened. Suffice to say that this is what I had intended to do. Okay, and Krita, in its infinite wisdom, erased everything that I did previously with the animation keyframe. And by the way, this is a, let's be clear, this is a shot that probably would be better done in Tahoma, frankly. You know, because you could use not only the transform tool but also even the plastic tool to get a little bit of deformation around, you know, his head kind of turning a little bit, but that's okay. That's okay, friends. We're just going to work with it here. Okay. So when we come into the shot, this is what's going to happen. Okay? So now all we have to do, that's the pertinent motion is really that. It's just him sitting up. Okay? So now all we have to do is change his expression, and we don't need the transform mask to do that. Okay? So here's Luka. And we know that on frame 4 he's sitting up. And so probably the smart thing to do would be the same thing I did before. I'm going to hit Shift, Control X, Control V. I want to do as much structural setting things up on the first frame as I can. In other words, before there's animation involved, not counting the transform mask, but basically let's get the structure working. So as you can see, as you can see, what I thought I didn't actually happen. I thought I cut it when I didn't. I actually copied it. So, delete, F key, boom, fill that in. Right? Cool. So now, the question becomes, well, what are we going to do with his eyebrows? Well, the first thing we're going to do is pin the stupid things to the timeline. A key, let's go to liquify mode. And we know that by the time the officers show up, stop, everything, stop, stop, stop. Turn this off. Okay, why did that happen? Okay, I see what happened. There's a second keyframe. Sorry, my bad. Whenever I see things happening that I don't quite understand what's going on, I verbally just say stop, hold it. I really try to catch myself, so I'm not. Get my perspective, figure out, step back from the situation a bit. Okay. And by the way, what I just did was not what I intended to do, unfortunately. I'm sorry to say. I actually wanted this to be more kind of what we had before, but that's okay. We'll work with this. Alright, and I'm going to turn on the skins. Okay. The only reason it looks a little strange because there's actually flesh tone around those eyebrows. Okay? So ignore his mouth because we're going to have to reanimate his mouth. But when we put the transform mask back on, now what we see is, oh, hey, officers. Okay. All right. Let's make a couple other changes. Let's turn off the transform mask. So again, you sort of have to think multi-dimensionally here. We know that when Luka looks at the officers, he's going to be looking in that direction. Here, I would say, actually, I want to even do this a little more extreme. I'm going to take that down, and then here, I think I'm going to have him looking down, like he's looking down at the fire, right? So, let's grab this color. Let's delineate the bottom of the eyes. That's why I already copied the keyframe over here. So now I can just go like this. Smack in the skin tone. Don't have to worry about bumping into the eyebrows because they're obviously in a different layer. And while I'm here, let's just erase his mouth because we're going to have to completely reanimate his mouth anyway. So let's just get rid of both of those. Right? Okay. Let's see what we have. Okay. So most of the you could do more with his eye direction and stuff like that, but frankly in this case it's kind of pointless because we're just using that 1/2 second to get to just enter the shot. Okay. So that's good. So this is the brows layer. Let's turn the transform mask off. We don't need it. All it does is kill performance and make it so we can't draw where we intended to draw. So let's add a mouth layer, M-O-U-T-H. And by the way, we are going to have to get around to the fire and the hands and the sticks. That's all going to be important. Insert a keyframe. All right, since the mouth's on its own layer, all right. Insert G key. Oh. G key again. Oh boy, that's horrible. Jeesh. I do better work when I just paint it with a brush. Hey. Officers. Okay, and this one should be, oh, that's not going to work. GE. Ooh, that's not going to work either. Just get rid of it. And you don't want to be in erase mode. Turn on the skins. Okay, M key. Let's double check our work. Not quite what I had in mind. Let's flip it again. There we go. Cool beans. Now if we turn the transform mask back on, this is what we get. Oh, hey, officers. And then he needs to have a guilty blink. And hey, see you, Sifter. And it's 2 hours. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off anyway. I'm ready for a break, and this is going well. But yeah, I'm ready to kind of call it a night. So anyway, thanks for hanging out. It's been good progress today. We're getting close to having all 48 minutes done and polished and punched up and looking good. So with that, I will say good night. And you know.